Brother, let me ask you something. If you ask any man what women fear most, they will say the same things. Betrayal, rejection, abandonment, maybe loneliness. But listen carefully, those are only the surface. They are symptoms, not the real fear. The true fear is much deeper, and most women never admit it, not even to themselves. Today, I will reveal it to you. After this, you will see women and relationships with new eyes. If you are new to this channel, subscribe now and stay until the end. Like, share, and enjoy this content. Brother, what I'm about to share took me years to learn. For decades, I thought women were like us. I believed their fears were our fears, their desires were our desires. That mistake almost destroyed every relationship I ever had. Listen well, the biggest mistake a man can make is to project his own mind into a woman. Our fears are not their fears. Men fear failure, we fear weakness, we fear disrespect. Our nightmare is that another man stronger than us will humiliate us or replace us. That is what keeps us awake at night. But for women, the game is completely different. When a man is betrayed, his world collapses because of humiliation, loss of honor, and pain in his pride. Yes, it's brutal. But when a woman is betrayed, the wound is not only about the betrayal, it carries a hidden message. You are no longer valuable. You are being replaced. You are now irrelevant. That is the stab that cuts deepest. Do you see the difference? For us, betrayal is an attack on our honor. For women, betrayal feels like a death sentence for their value. Now let's go deeper. For thousands of years, a man's survival depended on his strength, his honor, his ability to fight, protect, and provide. If he was weak, he could die, starve, or be enslaved. But a woman, even if weak, could still survive if she secured the protection of the strongest man she could find. That ancient reality got burned into the female psychology. And even today, in the 21st century, it's still running in the background of their minds. This is why attention means more to them than truth. This is why validation matters to them more than logic. This is why the fear of being replaced cuts them so deeply. Machiavelli understood this when he wrote about power and human nature. He knew every person is driven by fear, and if you want to understand someone, you must understand what terrifies them the most. Here is the truth most men never see. Women's biggest fear is not betrayal, not abandonment, not loneliness. Their deepest fear is becoming irrelevant, invisible, forgotten. Think about it. When a woman of 35 sees her man looking at a woman of 25, it's not just normal jealousy, it is primitive terror. She feels she is being measured against time and found lacking. She fears losing the race against age. When she tests you, when she creates drama, when she pushes you, it's not always out of malice. It's her biology screaming, is this man strong enough to keep me relevant, or will he throw me away when something better comes? Every test, every drama, every moment of irrational behavior is really her inner system asking, can I trust this man with my future, or am I fooling myself? And here is the sad truth. Most men fail these tests, not because they are weak, but because they don't even know the tests are happening. They think they are being attacked, when in reality they are being evaluated. If you see it as an attack, you respond with anger or defense. If you see it as an evaluation, you respond with calm strength and control. And when a man finally understands this, he changes. He stops taking female behavior personally. He stops getting angry at things that are simply nature in action. And he starts responding in ways that actually work. Because once you realize her fear is not betrayal, but irrelevance, everything shifts. Her need for constant validation no longer irritates you, you understand it. Her tendency to test you no longer frustrates you, you expect it. Her drive for security no longer surprises you, you respect it. And when a man begins to live with this deep understanding instead of his own projections, he becomes something powerful. He becomes a man who truly understands women. Brother, let's go even deeper. You've heard about the biological clock. Most men think it only means fertility, whether she can still have kids after a certain age, but that's only the surface. The truth is much harder. Imagine this. A man can be broke at 20, still struggling at 30, but if he builds wealth, power, and purpose, by 40, he can be more attractive than ever. His value grows with time, like good wine, like aged whiskey. But for a woman, her strongest value comes loaded from the start: youth, beauty, and fertility. These give her massive power in her younger years. But here's the painful part. This power has an expiration date, and she knows it. She might not say it. She might distract herself with career, money, or motivational quotes. But deep inside, every woman feels that clock ticking. And that silent pressure terrifies her. Her fear is not simply getting old, her fear is disappearing. Becoming invisible to men, invisible to society, even invisible to herself. That's why you see women in their 30s freezing eggs. Not because they want kids right now, but because biology whispers in their ears, time is running out. That's why even the most independent, empowered women still post pictures on Instagram craving likes. That's why midlife panic hits so hard. Society lied to her. It told her, you can wait. You can chase your career, you can party, you can always have a family later. But biology doesn't negotiate. Biology doesn't care about hashtags or speeches. Look around. Women today report more anxiety and depression than in the 1950s, even though they have more freedom. Why? Because they were told to ignore their nature. They were told career and independence would be enough. But nature is merciless. The female mind has always been tied to reproduction, validation, and staying relevant in the sexual marketplace. When that collides with modern lies, the result is panic. That's why you see women at 35 still swiping on dating apps, saying, I'm strong and independent, but secretly desperate for commitment. That's why women post sexy pictures long after men stop noticing. That's why "Where are all the good men?" becomes a cry among women in their 30s. They were told they had time, they don't. And here comes the bitter truth nobody wants to say. Men also believed this lie. We were told, let women live how they want. Equality will bring harmony. But what did we get instead? Chaos. Women following a script their biology will never respect. Men becoming bitter because the rules changed mid-game. Brother, the laws of nature are like gravity. You can deny them, but if you jump off a cliff, you still fall. Ancient truths cannot be erased by good intentions. And the truth is this: women always used youth and beauty to secure protection. Men always use strength and purpose to secure respect. When women trade youth for empowerment and men trade purpose for comfort, both sides lose. The cruel irony? Women were promised freedom, but many end up in chains anyway. Chains of jobs they hate, chains of fading beauty, chains of regret for families they never built. That's why the fear runs so deep. It's not just the clock, it's realizing the script was a scam and the bill always comes due. Now imagine Machiavelli watching this game. He knew real power was in understanding human nature, not denying it. If he lived today, he would say, the woman who denies her temporary nature becomes predictable, and what is predictable can be controlled. Do you see why you need to understand this? Not to judge, not to be cruel, but to be strategic. When you see the panic behind her actions, you stop reacting emotionally, you start responding wisely. But we're not done, brother, because now that you understand the clock and the panic, you need to see how it shows up in her daily behavior. You need to learn to read the signals you've been blind to your whole life. Brother, now we enter dangerous ground. Once you see these patterns, you can never unsee them. Let's start with the most obvious, her obsession with validation. Why does she take 20 pictures before posting one? Why does she check comments again and again? Why does one day without likes ruin her mood? Men think it's vanity, but no, brother, it's survival research. Each like is a data point. Each comment says, you are still visible, you are still relevant. A woman can have a great career, money, and independence. But if her photo doesn't get attention, she crumbles emotionally. Why? Because her real value at the deepest level is not her bank account. It is her ability to capture and hold male attention. Now let's talk about hypergamy, the female instinct to always look for something better. Men hate it. They call it betrayal, greed, superficiality. But they are looking at it wrong. Hypergamy is not cruelty. It is fear disguised as strategy. If her power is fading, if the clock is running, she must secure the best deal before the window closes. It's not personal, it's survival. That's why a woman can love you and still evaluate other options. That's why she often has a plan B hidden in the shadows. That's why she can suddenly change her mind about you, not because she's evil, but because her biology screams, "Are you sure this is the best you can do?" And then come the tests. Oh brother, the tests. Those moments when she makes drama out of nothing, when she pressures you, when she pushes buttons at random times. Most men see it as attack. They get angry, defensive, or start explaining. Fatal mistake. She's not attacking you. She is measuring you. Each test is a hidden question. Are you strong enough to handle me? Will you collapse under pressure? Or are you the kind of man who can lead and protect when things get hard? Think about it. If you had to trust your future to someone, wouldn't you test their strength? Her tests are not cruelty. They are life checks. It is her way of separating real men from weak pretenders. Now I want your opinion. When a woman tests you, what works better? A. Staying calm, controlled, no defensive explanations. B. Confronting her directly, asking why she's being difficult. Write A or B in the comments and say why you chose it. Let's see what strategy wins in the real world, but let's keep going. Have you noticed how emotional women can be? Happy one moment, angry the next, sad after that, then excited again. Men see chaos, but it's not chaos, brother. It's survival. Her emotions are tools. She pushes and pulls, adapts and adjusts, all to stay safe while her value is still in play. The woman who cries is not always sad. The one who yells is not always angry. The one who pulls back is not always hurt. Often, she is simply testing responses, seeing what works, measuring what control she has. It's not always conscious manipulation, it's instinct. And watch how behavior changes after 30. Urgency rises, demands grow stronger. Men think she is bitter. No, she is hearing the clock louder. Tests become harder because she has less time to waste. Hypergamy accelerates because she must secure her position fast. Validation cravings increase because invisibility is near. That's why women who preach independence still post provocative photos at 40. That's why women who say, "I don't need men," still collapse when single too long. That's why successful women still crave male approval. It's not hypocrisy, it's biology versus social narrative, and biology always wins. Machiavelli wrote that real power comes from knowing what truly moves people, not what they say moves them. For men, power with women comes from understanding their real fears, not their words, but their instincts. Once you see these patterns, everything changes. You stop taking her behavior personally. You stop getting frustrated. You start responding effectively, because behind every drama is fear. Behind every test is insecurity. Behind every validation seeking is the terror of disappearing. When a man sees past the theater and into the fear, he becomes something dangerous. He becomes unpredictable to women, but women become predictable to him. Now, brother, here is the brutal truth men don't want to hear. The real problem is not women, the real problem is us. Listen before you get defensive. We have analyzed female psychology. We have exposed their fears and strategies. But none of this will help you if you don't face your own blind spot. And the male blind spot is simple. We project our own mind onto women. We think they want what we want. We think their fears are our fears. Men enter relationships thinking, if I am loyal, loving, and good, that will satisfy her. But her deepest fear is not lack of love. Her deepest fear is irrelevance. And love without strength, without leadership, without making her feel secure, means nothing to her. Let me give you an example. When she tests you, when she pressures you, what is your first reaction? Most men defend, explain, justify, or argue with logic. Fatal error. Because when you react like this, you prove her fear right. That you are not strong enough, that you collapse under pressure, that you cannot lead. If she has to lead, brother, then you are useless to her. Not safe, not valuable, not worthy. That is why nice guys get friend-zoned. That is why men who give everything receive crumbs. That is why those who try the hardest get the least respect. They are playing the wrong game. Understand this. Female love is not unconditional like male love. It is based on respect and usefulness. When you finally accept this, you stop begging for affection. You start earning it. You stop giving everything for free. You start making her earn it too. But here comes the hardest truth. Women fear irrelevance with age, but men fear irrelevance through weakness. Their battle is against time. Our battle is against mediocrity. And here's the brutal reality. If a woman reaches 35 and panics, she still has a chance to recover with strategy or luck. But if a man reaches 35 with no strength, no purpose, no discipline, no one will save him. No one will care. He becomes invisible, not from age, but from failure. How many men do you know who are ghosts while still alive? Invisible at work, invisible to women, invisible to themselves, lost in porn, video games, junk food, endless scrolling. They are not fighting. They already surrendered. And here's the key difference. Female fear at least pushes them to act, to test men, to seek validation, to secure protection. But male fear often makes men hide. They numb it with distractions. They run from it instead of facing it. That is why our world is filled with weak men. Men with no bodies worth respect. Men with no mission. Men with no discipline. Men who expect loyalty, sex, and respect simply for existing. And then they rage when women don't give it. But nature doesn't care about your feelings. Women don't care about your excuses. History doesn't remember weak men. So here is the hard truth. Women fear irrelevance from age. Men fear irrelevance from failure. And irrelevance is death. Social, sexual, spiritual. If you don't rise, you vanish. So stop crying about female fears. Stop whining about hypergamy. Stop complaining about her leaving when you failed her tests. Instead, see her fears as a mirror of your own. Her fear of invisibility should wake you up to your fear of insignificance. The solution was never changing women. The solution has always been mastering yourself. Discipline, danger, purpose, strength. Become the man who cannot be ignored. Because here is the truth. Women may fade with age, but strong men only grow stronger with time. Machiavelli knew real power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from controlling yourself. You cannot lead anyone until you lead yourself. The man who conquers his own impulses, fears, and weaknesses becomes unstoppable. So I ask you, brother, what path are you on, toward strength or toward irrelevance? Because as long as you waste time blaming women, you lose. But the moment you start building yourself, everything changes. When a man understands this, he stops being reactive, he becomes proactive. He stops being victim, he becomes architect. He stops waiting for change, he becomes the change. And when that happens, women stop running from him and start chasing him. Why? Because he has become the answer to their deepest fear. He is the man who can protect them from invisibility. But this transformation is not easy. It requires work. It requires discipline. It requires you to let go of the man you are and build the man you need to be. That journey from weak to strong is what we must talk about in the end, because now you know women's fear, you know men's blind spot, and you know the only solution is your own transformation. Brother, this is the end, but also the beginning. Now you know women don't fear betrayal, they fear irrelevance. You know your own psychology has been your worst enemy, and you know the only way forward is to become strong, disciplined, and unshakable. The choice is yours. Stay invisible or become inevitable. Stop complaining about female nature. Master your own. If this video opened your eyes, share it, subscribe, and spread the truth. And now, help other men. Leave your best advice in the comments for a brother who is losing in the game of relationships. Your words may save someone from the mistakes you already made.